Hey everyone, it's Jamie, and I hope you're having a fierce day. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I love Among Us, and I've played it so much that in my mind I've created personas for each color. I was inspired to give them life by LavenderTowne. If you like drawing and cute things, definitely check her channel out, it's amazing. I'm going to be drawing 6 this week and 6 next week. I know it isn't gameplay, and I typically don't like to draw things for the internet because it gets overwhelming, but I had to do this. It was keeping me up at night for at least 10 minutes, which is a lot. We're going to draw lime, yellow, green, black, pink, and cyan. So first we have lime. Lime never dies, they're never sus, and they never do tasks. In my mind, lime's basically just an unpaid intern. They seem to take the longest to vote, because I think they just space out or forget what's going on. As imposters, they generally kill as soon as the game starts, probably because they're impatient. I also never really see them hang out with other people. They tend to fly solo, or sometimes just chill in the cafeteria. So I imagine Lime as a teenager with some successful parent that got them an internship on the ship, and since the position's due to nepotism, they don't really have to do anything to keep the job. For some reason, I also think Lime's the most likely to have a TikTok. I was going to make everybody's skin match their respective colors, but it looked violently radioactive, so I just messed around with different shades and picked the one that I thought complemented their suit the best. Lime also wears Fila disruptors and is into Billie Eilish, which is why they picked the color lime. I apologize for the constant flashing. It's me going nuts, zooming in and out. I also have to periodically switch windows when I use the lasso tool to unfreeze it. This way it doesn't crash Photoshop. I tried to cut it out, but by the time I got to the third guy in editing, I couldn't do it anymore. So sorry for the seizures, just put tiger balm on your head, thanks. Also, I forgot to mention, if you guys have name ideas, let's hear them, because they don't have names in my mind yet. So that's Lime. Next is yellow. They're cute, but generally the lights are on and nobody's home. They always bring up the possibility of themselves being the imposter, and I think it's because they feel left out for not being sus. Nobody really calls them out. Sometimes they just mash random keys or throw memes into the chat. I don't think they fully understand most of the ship or tasks. They never really refer to locations in the ship. They kind of just say the bottom right or the bottom left. They get stuck on the card swipe for way too long for comfort. I usually find them standing in front of the same task for like 5 minutes. I think Yellow was hired because during the interview, people thought that the dumb answers they were getting was witty sarcasm, but now that Yellow's hired, they realize it's not. Yellow's just crazy. I'm not saying that people who play Yellow are stupid, but if you play Yellow, definitely stay in school. They picked the yellow suit because it was the first one they saw, and much like a fish, Yellow's drawn to bright, shiny things. So there's Yellow, just happy-go-lucky, going every which way, and singing along, humming, happy to be alive. Next is Green. Green is super chill, and they're usually silent. They do tasks, but it seems like they do them only if they happen to be in the room. They kind of just wander around with no direction. They don't really plan to do the tasks. Several times I've seen Green standing idle in a random location like the hallway, staring at the wall. And I know they don't have eyes, they just have helmets, but trust me, their mind's eye was staring at the wall blankly. Green doesn't really follow people, but they don't run away either. They sort of just exist and are happy to play the game. I think of Green as the ship's pothead. They like tasks with pretty colors and frequently space out, ending up with some epiphany like, how can the imposter be real if our eyes aren't real? I don't think anybody inherently hates Green either. I rarely see them get voted out, and they don't really accuse people. They tend to vote whoever everyone else is voting off. I think Green was hired because they're really, really good at their job, but they're the type of person who smokes because their 4,000 IQ is too overwhelming sober. They can't take being alone with their thoughts. Even though they space out though and don't plan out tasks and wander around and stand still for long periods of time, they always somehow seem to get the job done anyway. They picked green as their jumpsuit color because 420 blaze it #plantlife. Here I drew green, having a lot of fun on what I think green would enjoy the most as a task, the scanner. It has bright colors and it sort of envelops you in this bright light, which I think would be really fun to do high, so that's what green's doing. They probably didn't even get that task assignment, they just finished all of their tasks beforehand, and instead of reporting back to the cafeteria, they got distracted by the scanner. So there's green, having a lot of fun by themselves. Next is black. Black is insane. I love them so much because they're so easy to mess with and they have so much energy. If you say something stupid, they'll actually respond with an answer, trying to rationalize that statement. They always go off solo, and I always see them on cams. They always have a list of reasons each time they want to vote somebody off, but nobody ever listens to them because they're so serious and certain. Black is always trying to connect the dots and do stuff themselves, like a detective, always trying to gather all the pieces and make sense of it. Because of this, they don't usually finish their tasks. They almost always guess the imposter, but it doesn't make a huge difference because people don't listen to them. Of all the colors, black is the most likely to say, if it's not purple, vote me next. They're usually so certain that they put their own life on the line, which I think is hilarious. I imagine black as somebody who never sleeps and takes each kill as a personal attack. Sort of like a mixture of Elle from Death Note and Rick from Rick and Morty or Back to the Future. They were hired like 50 years ago, and they know the ship like the back of their hand. They work on holidays and refuse to retire because this job's their life. They picked a black suit because it doesn't stain easily from coffee or cigarettes, and so that they can hide in the shadows to collect evidence. Black lives off energy drinks and black coffee. And probably subscribe to the idea that you can periodically take 5-minute micro naps throughout the day instead of sleeping at night. So I made Black's hair all crazy, and I gave them super pale skin just because I don't think they would get out a lot. I also made it so you come across Black sort of like you walked into the cafeteria and turned on the light, and they were there, staring with this menacing grin, like, I found the guy. I think Black is borderline crazy, borderline genius. By the way, I mean red, so next week I'll be doing red, brown, white, blue, purple, and orange. Red's gonna be a little bit difficult just because I don't really have a lot of experience playing with red, just because I play red myself. So if you guys have feedback on any of these colors, really, but especially red, let me know, because I'm just going to make red how I play. As you can probably tell, I spend the most time on black. I have strong feelings about black. They are so much fun to play. It's always fun to play games with characters that take it way too seriously. Otherwise it gets boring. If nobody takes the game seriously and we're all just having fun, just voting people randomly, it's boring. It gets a little bit boring and random, and the games don't last very long. People tend to leave. Black is very passionate about this game. So next is Pink. Pink is my favorite character to team up with. Every time I try to follow other colors around, they just run into the cafe and hit the emergency button, and I get ejected for being sus. Pink loves to buddy up and is so down to be friends, it's nuts. They also get voted off super quickly, and I think it's because they talk a lot in the chat, and they're very vocal about their opinions, and they always say that other people are innocent rather than saying that other people are guilty. So they sort of work by a process of elimination. I think they really believe that everyone's innocent until proven guilty. Pink also rarely gets the imposter, and as the imposter, Pink never kills you if you've proven your allegiance. If I buddy up with Pink for the first 6 seconds of the game, they will not kill me, and sometimes even protect me from the other killer. But they feel deeply betrayed if you rat them out, so I never do. They also stick around for several games, which is really fun because you can build up a history with them. Pink is the kind of crewmate that would remember your birthday, I think. I see Pink almost all the time with an accessory on their head, like the cherry or the flower, so they're very focused on aesthetics. Anyway, Pink was hired for group morale because they remembered everyone's names after the first interview and bring pothos plants into the office for better air. And after spending 5 minutes together, everyone feels like they've known Pink since childhood. At this point, I was so devastated because I realized I was making Pink on the Photoshop file for Black. When I went to save it, it saved as Black, so Black is gone. I'm so glad I saved an image of Black beforehand, though, but the Photoshop file for Black is gone, so F in the chat for Black, guys. RIP. Maybe it's a sign that they should retire now. Anyway, Pink picked the pink suit because it was pretty. They're one of the few people that I think picked the suit because it just looked nice. There was really no strategic advantage to it. It's a very bright color and you can't mistake it. I think they're the kind of crewmate that if they don't get the pink suit, they kind of get upset. So yeah, always hand over the pink to the player that wants to play pink. Otherwise it can ruin their whole day. So there's Pink, just excited to be a part of a team and be your best friend forever. And so the final character for this set of 6 is Cyan. I know people might get up in arms about this, but really, I am 100% serious. In every game I've played, Cyan always seems to die first. Whether they're imposter or not, they always die. They're like the Among Us equivalent to the red shirts in Star Trek. They never get to finish tasks because they die mid-task, and they either leave after they're dead or immediately finish their task as a ghost. But to be fair, I would leave too if it was my 10th time dying in the first 10 seconds. I think of them like young prodigies who were amazing in college, but with no real-world experience. So they were hired because they're highly skilled, but they didn't learn how to prevent an attack from an imposter crewmate, or how not to get sliced in half. They have a Cyan suit because they're the ship's medic, which is sad because they know so much about how to save others, but they never stop to save themselves. I genuinely think that they're really good at the game, but they never get to show it because they always end up at the wrong place at the wrong time. They're very bright colors to see, which I guess makes them an easy target. A lot of times they'll just be chosen as a... Oh, I brought the little blue character in so I could copy the color of his mask, and when I zoomed out it gave me a heart attack. And I made a little vent with the killer inside. It's such a bright color, and they're always being framed for things, I think because they can't really defend themselves. They didn't really learn how to do that in college. They thought that everybody would play by the rules and that things would make sense, but this is Among Us, and nobody listens to reason, so... Unfortunately for Cyan, that makes things really difficult, and they always end up dying. So those are this week's 6 Among Us characters. Let me know if you made one of these and what your opinions are. I'll incorporate your feedback on the next 6. Let me know if I have any of these concepts sort of messed up, or if you agree. I'm only taking this from games that I've played personally, so there's a good chance that these aren't correct, but in my mind this is how each character looks if they were to take off the mask. If you want to check out more of my illustration, I'll link my Instagram below, but I don't post much. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.
And deconstruct evenly the efforts to reform me, and now I play video games because my life was boring. Thank you all for watching. Please remember to